Tonight, South Australia's road toll rises following a fatal crash at Whyalla. And GFG returns to the spotlight with its British offices raided by police.
From our 7 Spencer Golf Studios, your nightly news with John Hunt begins now.
Good evening. A man has died after a serious crash in Whyalla this morning. Police say the motorcyclist lost control, with major crash investigators travelling from Adelaide to assess the incident. Our reporter Mark Zeta has the details.
Emergency services were called to Hinks Avenue in Whyalla following reports of a serious motorcycle accident early this morning.
Police were notified of the incident just after 4 o'clock. Officers say a green Kawasaki motorcycle lost control and crashed near the intersections of Hinks Avenue, Grundle and Luthwaite streets. The rider, a 26-year-old Whyalla Stewart man, died at the scene. Police and SES crews blocked off the street for most of the day, with major crash investigators travelling from Adelaide to investigate the circumstances surrounding the crash. A flow of tributes for the man from family and close friends posted on social media. Police say the 26-year-old's death is the 25th life lost in South Australia this year. That's compared to 37 at the same time last year. The incident coming off the back of a police blitz during the Anzac Day long weekend, with officers detecting 753 traffic offences across the state's roads. Superintendent Bob Gray saying every life lost on the roads is one life too many.
Anyone who saw the motorcycle prior to the crash is urged to contact Crime Stoppers.
The owner of the Whyalla Steelworks is facing fresh questions about its governance. GFG Alliance's British offices were raided by the Serious Fraud Office overnight as part of an investigation into alleged fraud and money laundering. The force says it was seeking documents in relation to the company's balance sheets, annual reports and correspondence. In a statement, GFG denied any allegations of wrongdoing, saying they are cooperating with authorities. They also say the investigation is not related to their Australian operations. A national Aboriginal children's advocacy group has outlined their prime concerns heading into the federal election. They say candidates should prioritise giving children a good start in life to prevent further problems down the track. Edward McCarroll has more.
The Secretariat of National Aboriginal and Islander Childcare says the decisions made in this federal election could have a major impact on the future of First Nations children. The organisation calling on all major parties to commit to election priorities that will give Aboriginal children a better start in life.
We're calling on all major parties in the upcoming federal election to create policies that change the future for our children.
They are calling for whoever is elected to provide access to culturally appropriate education and care.
Give our children a better start in life by making sure they have access to quality, community-controlled early childhood education services,
while also committing to fund early support and prevention services for families.
Investment in Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander community-led solutions and changing policies that work against our children and families.
They say their proposals will help give children strong role models and access to safe environments, which they say will strengthen communities in regional South Australia. The organisation says substantial policy change is needed if the future federal government intends to make headway on further closing the gap targets.
New data from The Guardian shows the Grey electorate is being shortchanged in the lead-up to the federal election. Grey, which is considered a safe Liberal seat, is lagging behind in spending promises, with pledges equating to only $108 per voter. That compares to $5,500 for each voter in the Tasmanian seat of Bass, where the margin is just 0.4%. The electorate of Mayo, which is on 5.1%, is the only South Australian seat in the top 30. Senator Rex Patrick has made a whirlwind stop in his hometown of Whyalla as part of his re-election campaign for the Senate. He's pleased with the federal government's commitment to fund the refurbishment of the city's aged care facilities.
Making a stop home as part of his election campaign. Senator Rex Patrick talking to community members at the Westland Shopping Centre yesterday afternoon.
It's an interesting campaign, lots of big issues that need to be addressed. I'm travelling around the state talking to people and also sharing my vision for a better South Australia.
The Senator getting feedback from the public about what issues they want solved ahead of the federal election next month, including the payment of taxes by multinational companies, environmental protections for the state's food industry, and other issues.
We also need to be looking, or people are telling me they're very interested in integrity issues. We've got to get a federal ICAC in place.
On the issue of aged care, the Senator welcomed the federal government's multi-million-dollar commitment to fund aged care facilities in Whyalla. However, he's calling for more to be done, including a response to a Royal Commission into aged care.
Look, I welcome any funding that goes into aged care. Aged care is in crisis. One of the things that the government hasn't done is implement all of the recommendations of the Royal Commission.
Mark Zita, 7 Spencer Gulf News.
Still to come tonight, concerns raised over the conditions at an Eyre Peninsula cemetery, and a rate rise coming for Broken Hill residents. Welcome back. One of Port Lincoln's oldest cemeteries is looking worse for wear after a rabbit infestation dug up old graves. The District Council of the Lower Eyre Peninsula has formed a committee aimed at preserving its heritage.
The Penindi Cemetery in grave danger. Locals are concerned with its current condition, with some sites left to rot, while others have been dug out by rabbits.
It was desolate, it was vermin infested, it was barren, and it totally lacked respect. Those early pioneers were deeply spiritual.
A number of headstones and potholes are also in need of a clean-up. Locals now looking to preserve the site.
Council have decided to form a subcommittee that will be known as the Friends of Penindi Cemetery to establish council and the community to make improvements to that cemetery.
A lack of records led Sue to investigate the Aboriginal people who were buried there. On her journey, she uncovered that one of her ancestors lies in Penindi.
Get some more substantial evidence of who is buried there. And so among that was our great-grandmother. So that says a fair bit about us, the white community, and how we have failed to value our history.
The next move will see a survey conducted to uncover lost graves.
With the Flinders University to undergo the geotechnical surveying of the site, which is currently planned to happen in August.
Henry Millick, 7 Spencer Gulf News.
The end is in sight for Broken Hill City Council Civic Centre litigation, with elected members confident it will be resolved in the coming months. Last night's meeting also discussed a potential rate rise and a disaster payment application.
Ready to move on after 6 years. The City Council's legal action against the builders and the architect involved in the Civic Centre redevelopment is reaching the end.
What we're looking at now is a cost settlement. So we're at the point where we're now looking at deciding what costs are appropriate. So, and when all that's all done, people will find out exactly what's happened.
Everyone is happy it's nearly over.
Yeah, absolutely. I think all the, as the Mayor mentioned, but all the councillors and the staff and everybody involved obviously will be relieved that it's coming to a close.
Meanwhile, Council also voted to apply to raise rates by 2.3%. The Independent Regulatory and Pricing Tribunal will have the final say.
CPI is over 3%, inflation's over 4%, so even at 2.3% the community's going backwards, or the council's going backwards in their ability to provide services.
That'll give the council an extra $266,000 to maintain its current services into the future.
Council will also apply for disaster relief funding after being rocked by 2 major weather events this year.
And that'll cover the short-term damage that we had to do with the clean-up, getting the branches and the trees off the roads, fixing the potholes and the footpaths, but also some of the longer-term damage that we've experienced as well.
Joshua Mercer, 7 Spencer Gulf News.
Residents in Whyalla are encouraged to give their feedback on a new plan regarding the city's paths and trails. It's part of a new master plan that's being developed by the Whyalla City Council. The council says they will be creating the plan with consultants, key stakeholders and the broader community. An online survey is available and a virtual community workshop will be held next month. More details can be found on the council's website. Stay with us. Port Lincoln's best netball is about to put their talents on display. And Port Augusta gets ready to go racing once again. Port Lincoln Netball's McDonald's Cup Carnival is just around the corner, with junior players across the peninsula ready to hit the court. The event also looking to give back, with the proceeds from the gate going towards Ronald McDonald House.
Junior netballers aiming for a shooting start this season.
Let's go Storm!
The Port Lincoln Netball Association is all set to host this year's McDonald's Cup Carnival.
Clubs from all over Ayers Peninsula to come along with their 11 and under, 13 and under, 15 and under teams, and they come along, they bring their club teams. It's a really good start to the season, good way for the teams to bond.
The event attracting players from across the Ayers Peninsula, giving them a chance to tune up their skills.
Yeah, and it's a really great day for girls to actually put their skills out there against some different opposition than what they would normally be playing against on a Saturday.
Port Lincoln's McDonald's once again offering a helping hand. A gold coin donation will be collected at the gate, with proceeds supporting Ronald McDonald House.
We do fundraising, throughout the course of the years at different levels, and every few $100, $1,000 helps contribute towards the cost of running the houses and things like that.
The association grateful they can help make a difference.
It's our way of giving back to Ronald McDonald House, knowing that several families from over the whole of the peninsula have had to use that facility at some stage.
The carnival takes place on Mother's Day this year. Henry Millick, 7 Spencer Golf News.
Port Augusta's Racing Club is excited to welcome patrons back to the course this weekend. The club says they expect this year to be bigger than ever, with a strong lineup of events in the pipeline.
There's nothing quite like a day at the races. Crowds are set to flock back to Port Augusta Racetrack this Sunday to kick off the season.
We are extremely excited to welcome people back to racing at Port Augusta. The facilities are looking magnificent.
Yeah, we're looking forward to it. We've put a lot of effort into it in the last few months, and it's coming up great.
The club putting in work over the break to ensure the course is looking in tip-top condition. The grass has been cut, the club rooms have been cleaned, and an exciting new structure has also been added.
During the off-season, we've been extremely excited to have our volunteers working on a new children's playground for families to enjoy.
The playground placed adjacent to the course's front lawns and grandstand, so kids can remain occupied when mum and dad have their own fun.
Watch the races, check out your horse before the race by the parade ground. We really do have everything on course for a great day out.
New paved areas are also being installed to make the grounds more accessible.
It's starting to pull together. We wish we had another 4 weeks because we're a little bit behind on a couple of major jobs, but nothing we can't handle.
Gates open on Sunday at 11 a.m, with all community members encouraged to come along. Edward McCarroll, 7 Spencer Golf News.
And the Outback Rugby League season kicks off this weekend. However, Menindee will not be fielding a side this year. Despite this, those in charge are adamant the season will still go ahead, with only the format changing.
The Silver City Scorpions opened their 2022 campaign against the Part 2 Warriors this Sunday. What happens after round 1, however, is still a mystery. With Menindee recently pulling out, games are now likely to be played against teams based in Mildura, Cobar or Ivanhoe.
Yes, there is uncertainty about the other competition clubs in regards to Menindee Abbeys and Wilcannia Boomerangs. At this point in time, there's an uncertainty. There's doubt that they'll come back.
Player numbers cited as one of the reasons why teams may not take the field. The Scorpions coach hopeful both clubs can return this season and beyond, saying the future of the game relies on strong competition.
we do hope, that they do get the opportunity to regain their club and get back on their feet and bring a team back into the competition, both clubs,
Mr Morris has had meetings with his players and managers about the situation. He says they are happy to travel.
As long as they get to play rugby league, as long as they get to play the game they love to play, as long as they get to play the game they loved when they was growing up, then they're happy to travel wherever.
If you'd like to see some great rugby league action, head to Burke Oval in Wilkenya, with kick-off set for 1:15 p.m.
Stay with us after the break. We check what's biting in the golf this weekend. And Alex Sykes will have the latest weather details. Hello again. Time now to go around the Spencer Gulf and find out what's biting when we drop a line in the water over the coming days. Here's our fishing experts with their tips.
G'day and welcome to this week's fishing tips from Port Augusta, Jewel North. Well, perfect weather at the moment, beautiful school holidays weather getting out there. Lots of squid around on the drift. Last half hour, your best catches on the front of the shacks, but they're also around the middle banks during the day as well. Salmon trout have been getting caught around the creek mouths. Some nice snook on the troll and lots of garfish at the moment. Some of the fondest memories of the kids drifting along trying to get some garfish on the front of the shacks early in the morning. That's all we have from the Jewel of the North.
Hi, whalers fishing tips this week, land-based across Whyalla. Still a few silver whiting holding down towards the Cowlards Landing area. A little bit closer to town, the local jetty still holding a few crabs. You've got to work hard for them though. There's been a few squid coming late in the evenings off the jetty. Down towards Point Lodi, there's been some nice salmon schools still holding up around the lighthouse, so get amongst those. Bit further down towards Becky Point, some nice snook coming from the rocky outcrops there. For the boaties, still some good numbers of squid starting to push through down towards the Mount Young grounds. There has been a few early signs of some King George whiting hitting the table as well.
G'day and welcome to this week's fishing tips from Port Lincoln. Starting up around Tumby Bay, the whiting is starting to improve around town there. Places down south towards Second Creek have been producing a few fish in the afternoon high tides. There's also been a few salmon, trout and snook down there as well. Moving down to Port Lincoln, the squid have been going pretty good down here as well. Late evenings on the local town jetty has been really good. Also the Caravan Park jetty and places like Snook's Landing and Stafford Point as well. The salmon have been pretty good down at the main wharf. Whenever the pilly boats are down there unloading, it's a good time to get the kids down there. There's also been a few small kingfish down at the cabbage patch, as well as some Samson fish as well. That's about it for this week. We'll see you again next week.
And with the weekend almost upon us, let's take a look at what the region can expect weather-wise. With all the details, here's Alex Sykes.
Thanks, John. Well, we had a break from those wet conditions today that plagued the start of our week. Unfortunately, they do return tomorrow. I'll have more detail on that in just a moment. Let's first take a closer look at today's conditions. From 3 p.m, Port Augusta was partly cloudy and 28, Broken Hill was 22 degrees and Clare was 27. Looking further out across the region now, Whyalla, Cleve, Port Lincoln were all partly cloudy and reached a max of 28. Port Pirie and Adelaide both topped 27. Kadina was mostly sunny and also reached 28 degrees. Cooper Pedy was partly cloudy and had the region's top of 31 degrees. Taking a look at the satellite image now, high cloud pushing over northern parts is not rain bearing. Cloud over the far southeast is not bringing rain. Skies are largely clear elsewhere over the state with a dry air mass. Moving on to tomorrow's weather outlook now, and we'll start with the Gulf waters. Northerly winds 15 to 20 knots, seas below a metre, and south to southwesterly swells below a metre as well. Showers across the region tomorrow. Port Lincoln and Woodner both to reach 21 degrees. Cleve set to top a max of 20 degrees. It's set to reach 21 degrees in both Whyalla and Kadina tomorrow, and Port Augusta will get to a max of 23. Port Pirie also set to reach 23 degrees. Clare is set for 20, and Broken Hill have a late shower or two and reach a max of 25 degrees. Taking a look further through the week now, showers clearing in most parts for the beginning of the weekend. Partly cloudy in Woodner, Whyalla and Port Lincoln all set to reach 19 degrees. Port Pirie will have an early shower or two with 21. Port Augusta and Kadina both set to get to 20. A morning shower or two in Broken Hill with 17 degrees there. To Sunday, and it'll be partly cloudy across most of the region. Port Pirie, Woodner, Kadina and Cooper Pedy all set to reach 20 degrees. Port Augusta and Whyalla both both 19. Mostly sunny across the border in Broken Hill with a max of 16 degrees there. A look at next week now. Those partly cloudy conditions are set to continue across most parts. Cooper Pedy will be sunny and 21 degrees. Broken Hill will be mostly sunny and is set to reach a max of 17 degrees. So John, it looks like the rain is clearing in most parts of the weekend and will remain dry into next week. And that's all the weather from me for tonight. I'll see you a little later on with an update. It's back to you.
Thanks for that, Alex. And that's the local news this Thursday evening. Thanks for joining us. I'll have updates later, and we will return tomorrow night at the earlier time of 6:30 p.m. Until then, enjoy your evening. Good night.